There's no sound.
Right
No
now.
sound.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Do we really have to redo the gag there then? Because
I tried to do like a smart
Alright.
thing.
All right, everybody, we're taking it
there
from
we
the top.
go.
We're taking it from the top. Pretend that never happened. All right,
let's redo a joke. It's going to be totally
we're gonna
just as
redo.
funny the second
It's
time.
gonna be completely organic. Watch.
Just,
It's
just
gonna be
hit
even
that rewind.
Yeah.
We're
All
gonna
right.
start our
Ready?
own Twitch rewind here.
Hello and welcome to NoCB, a Grand Strategy podcast for the week of the 28th of is it July still? Is the
Yes.
one-
Yes, it's still July. It hasn't changed in 2 minutes. Don't worry.
named after the
20
guy I don't
seconds.
like. Yeah. Yeah, the one that's named after the guy I don't like. That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
The hot one.
Oh, this is what Loris. What,
I said it. No, I was on the script. Go on. I
We
said
did
the
it.
hot
That was
one.
the
great.
hot one.
All right, I think
Julius
we're gonna
Caesar,
do-
very hot.
We're gonna do-
historically, like an absolute looker. That receding hairline. Oof. Ooh.
I just want to do like 2 or 3 more takes. All right. So if everybody could no. I'm Liana.
So yeah, Julius Caesar.
I'm Liana. I'm your
This is
host.
terrible.
Lambert is off the podcast again for
Roma
spreading Roman lies. We also have with
back
us.
in the black hole.
See, legend has it that Vercingetorix only surrendered because he found Julius Caesar so attractive.
You know, I wouldn't as much as I don't like Julius Caesar. I'd read some Caesar X for Kingetorix fanfic. You know, maybe they find another way to settle their differes.
wait, what podcast is this?
It's rapidly turning into
Apparently
a
we're
very
doing
different one.
fanfiction now.
Yeah.
So, IRL historical fanfiction.
That would be our friend Enigmatic Rose.
Hi, low.
We also have Father Loris manning the high-tech battle station this week.
Hello.
And returning, we have the project lead for the E4 Anbennar mod, Jay,
Hello, everyone.
which just released a big update, and that's going to be our main topic at the end of the show here. But before that, we do have a little bit of news to cover this week. Starting off, So, Lambert, you often break the laws of the show by being pro-Roman. What kind of laws are we going to be able to have in Victoria 3?
Well, there isn't actually any laws about whether you're allowed to, enjoy the Roman Empire or not. Mostly because it's mandated that you have to, and there isn't actually any ability to change that.
But what if it's a good romance?
I like
Then
romance.
You're probably playing
I
the wrong game.
remember, I said I would read Julius Caesar fan fiction, so obviously I'm fine with romance.
That's
not
just
with the
cultured.
Romans. It
Romans
is
of the 3rd century.
very cultured.
So
yeah.
the dev diary for Vicky 3 that came out 6 days ago, because I've got a really great memory, I know all about it. It's all about laws and stuff, based on the laws that you'll be able to pass in your country in Victoria 3 laws. No, in all seriousness, you've got a bunch of different laws that you're going to be able to pass that looks way more in depth than what you will have seen in Victoria 2. They're grouped into certain groupings. You'll have government principles, and you'll be able to choose do I want to be a parliamentary republic? Do I want to be a federal republic? Do I think democracy is smelly? All this kind of stuff. Choosing a different form of monarchy is another option, which, I guess the Americans think that I already said about monarchy with the whole democracy is silly, but no, I didn't, because you can have a democratic monarchy. It's possible. It's been done before. But yeah, there's a lot of different granularity to your laws. It's not just a case of things becoming better over time. Like in Victoria 2, you had various reforms that you could pass, and it was always a case of you just go in one way, unless you put the Carlists in power, and then you can go backwards and you can regress a bit. But it's less about upgrading, and it's a lot more side grading. Is this specifically actually better for certain parts of the population? Yeah, for others, probably not.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, there's one piece missing here that maybe I should ask Wiz about this. But if you're going to have a constitutional monarchy, does that mean that you have to have like like autocracy as a governing principle, and then like universal suffrage under distribution of power? Because like the UK is also a parliamentary republic, but then how do you distinguish between a parliamentary republic that has a king like the UK and one that doesn't? I'm still kind of confused on how those are going to mix together.
With the UK, the Queen is the head of state. Just like in the US, you've got the president as the head of state.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between the UK and the US in that we also have the head of the government, which is not the Queen, whereas the president for you is also the head of the government. So in all honesty, you know, a presidential republic is more autocratic than any monarchy with parliament.
Well,
we've devolved the power into being from one person into two, and you've still got it as one. So I mean, get some fucking democracy. Come on.
I appreciate you taking the opportunity to use that question as an opportunity to shill for an unelected hereditary.
Shilling is totally one
thing. We have Valorgain in
chat
chat saying that Lambert's just talking pure nonsense. I'm prone to agree with that here.
I think if Lambert and Valorgain ever ended up in the same room in real life, there would probably be a fight. I think that would probably happen.
It will be interesting to see how that works in Slack, because we've got the governmental principles, right? So I assume constitutional monarchy is going to be a separate thing from parliamentary republic.
Maybe they haven't shown us that one yet. Because that's what I'm curious about. Is in game mechanics, how is it going to distinguish between you have a parliament and people are allowed to vote, but you have a monarch, versus you have a parliament and people are allowed to vote, but you don't have a monarch.
And then if you have the monarch, then do you have the two houses, one being like the House of Lords where people aren't voted in?
Yeah.
I just want to point out I'm not in favor of the House of Lords. Like, and I just think that needs to be pointed out. I like democracy. And that's not
Harrington books.
That's one thing. I don't think we've actually seen any sort of upper house mechanic in Vicky yet.
No.
That sounds like a DLC feature to me. Like I wouldn't be shocked if it made it into launch, but that sounds like a DLC feature to me.
The upper house.
If it makes it in, it is the same as Vicky 2. I'll be quite disappointed. It's like, oh, there's actually an upper house mechanic? What is this? Oh, it goes from, it's a percentage of whether some nebulous group of I don't know who agrees with me, and if it gets above 50%, they allow me to pass a law.
Yeah, I still don't quite understand with upper house mechanics in Vicky 2, if I'm honest.
Me neither.
X number of years.
I think there's probably a lot of mechanics in Vicky 2 that just are not easily understandable.
Yeah.
No, agreed. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of telling that in one of the interviews, I think it was Wiz that said there was a bug early in the game. It probably wasn't Wiz because he wasn't working the game early on. I can't remember which dev it was, but they didn't understand why sphering China broke the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Vicky is it's Vicky.
It's really a little broken.
Yeah, if you haven't,
I wouldn't say it's broken.
It's fun, but it's a little broken. It's not like unusably broken. It's just got some cracks and dents, and you still play with it anyway because it's still a good toy.
In the business, we call these quirks.
Yeah, it's charmingly janky.
Yes, it is charming as hell.
Much like all of us here on this podcast, we're charmingly janky.
I have to say the artwork, like the welfare, no social security, the fact that they're like broken, crumbling angel wings.
Yeah. I do like the UI. I know there's some people who really don't like the Vicky 2 UI.
I quite like it.
Or Vicky 3. I keep saying Vicky 2
there are
every
certain
time
parts that I like,
3.
And there's certain parts that I really don't like.
Yeah.
I think I agree very much with a video that Count Christo made soon after the launch. Oh, not the launch. That's not happened yet. The announcement where he was complaining about the apparent appearance of the CK3 drop-down menu of here's what you can do because it's shit. And I kind of agree with him. It's not very good in CK3, and I'm not really happy to see it in Vicky 3. But I mean, hopefully there's going to be, improvements over time. There's a ways away until Vicky 3 comes out, and if valid criticisms of the UI are made, that's still well within the time period of things being able to be fixed.
We have Zeph in chat saying the new PDX games just make their UI too big. And I kind of agree and disagree with that with CK3. CK3, you've got both sides open and you can't see anything.
That's true.
But there's so much data. I don't know. It feels like it could have been done better, differently somehow.
The opposite end of the spectrum is Old World, where they try to cram way too much info into too small of a spot.
Yes.
Yes, that's the opposite problem.
One other thing I wanted to say about this dev diary is I don't think private health insurance should be a government policy. Like, I think private health insurance just means you don't have a public health system.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's not a public health system. And I mean, realistically, you know the U.S., private health insurance everywhere. But if you come down with tuberculosis, the government's going to take care of you and make sure you have medication because they don't want that to spread.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot of countries in the Victorian time period that didn't even have an insurance system. So,
so that we don't know what all the health systems are going to be here. But I'm saying that even if something is generically private health, there's often still a government equivalent, or government will step in certain cases. And even that's been historical. There's a plague and they step in and do stuff. I mean, or that's pandemics and vaccines, and every kid in the States can get MMR vaccines for free and all that stuff.
Well, and even like in the US, if you get sick and you walk into a hospital, they can't refuse you treatment. It's just that
it'll ruin your life after.
Yeah, if you don't have insurance, you're gonna possibly walk out with tens of thousands of dollars of debt. They can't just be like, oh, you don't have any money. Well, then all right, go die. They're not allowed to do that. But they are allowed to charge you insane amounts of money afterwards that you will never be able to pay back. So.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to when
having a C-section to give birth to my son and being in the hospital for 2 days. We didn't even stay in for the full 3 days.
Yeah.
The bills said $70,000.
Yeah,
that's a baby.
I actually say, since my husband was a nurse at that hospital and they have a really good nurses union, we had the best insurance you could get in New York State. So we didn't pay a penny of that. But if you don't have that level of health insurance, $70,000 to have a kid.
Can I pay in baby?
You just take the child,
and that doesn't even count the care while I was pregnant. I only had to pay for I had to pay for one appointment copay. All the others were covered by the insurance. Most people, though, at least will be paying $20 to $30 copay for every appointment, which is once a month up until the last month, where it's every 2 weeks and then every 1 week.
Yeah.
I'm quite looking forward to when we get to see more of the details about the different options more than anything.
Right.
This is a good. This is a good little dev diary just showing over the main categories grouped into 3. They're quite in depth, far more in depth than base Vicky 2. In fact, it's probably more in depth than HFM even, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah. They made it deeper when everybody thought they were going to make it, dumb it down.
Jay, have you been thinking about the possibility of making Anbennar Victoria 3 when it comes out? Is it something that's been on the mind?
I'll have you know that yes, Anbennar was a setting for a Victorian era game. So
nice.
Now that Vicky 3 is confirmed.
There's already a chat in your Discord, apparently.
Yes. So it's gonna happen.
Delightful.
So.
Yeah.
And one for Imperator 2, please. Just saying.
You need to speak.
Hardwired as well.
That's all right.
Hashtag save Imperator. Let the mod save it.
Oh my goodness.
We need Anbennar Sengoku. Yeah.
I would love to play.
Yeah.
Playing goblins in World War II era. That sounds amazing. Giving nuclear weapons to goblins.
For trench warfare. Your trenches wouldn't need to be as deep, and there's a fucking ton of them.
There's already, I think it's called Children of the Sun. It's a role-playing game. Somebody in chat help me out. It's like Diesel Punk with like Tolkien fantasy races. It's exactly what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure it's called Children of the Sun. And there's like elf Nazis. Yeah. I don't know if
normal
anybody...
elves then.
At least
and I play a drow.
Yeah, well, drow are like rebellious, or I guess not. Well, Drizzt is rebellious. Drow in general are not typically rebellious. But...
What about dwarves? Just have them tunnel under everything. Imagine the Germans
that would be great
with dwarves invading France.
I'm envisaging like airships.
Yeah.
Have you any idea? Like, has a good idea, or is it still a sort of ongoing process of how the world's going to turn out canonically at the end of?
Yeah, that is an ongoing process. Everyone wants to obviously chip in and figure it out now. Let's sort out what the map looks like now. And I'm like, relax, we don't even know what's going on with the game. So
for
us, it's kind of sorting out what looks cool and borders wise, the setup wise, and then working back from there.
But I want my favorite faction to be really powerful.
Children of the Sun. I was right.
Oh yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
Also, fuck humans. No one cares about humans.
We also had like a really good little image episode.
Oh yeah, we got a teaser for tomorrow's Dev Diary.
And the teaser, of course. Well, it's a really good like picture.
Oh.
As always Dev Diaries come.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, which I think is a
Paris
Paris
commune.
Commune.
This is Paris Commune. Hell yeah, represent.
Nice.
I think so.
I'm curious if it'll be possible to like play and survive as the Paris Commune. Like it'd be really hard because suddenly you're basically an OPM surrounded by one of the most powerful countries in the world. But maybe they'll implement something like the anarchist Spain in EU4, where maybe you can go influence the countryside to like join your anarchist state or something like that. Yeah.
But this is the teaser for next week.
For tomorrow.
Institutions.
I love the health system. It has 3 different slots. So I'm guessing it's going to be more than just, it's private or it's public.
I think those are like the levels of investment you can do. Maybe I could be wrong. Yeah.
Institutions.
If that's just levels of investment, that is a lot of wasted UI space.
Yeah.
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 Like that's one of the things that I'm not a massive fan of is some things are a little bit. Here's a big fatty button, and next to it is a bunch of other big fatty buttons. It's like it doesn't need to be quite so much like that. Like it actually in the dev diary itself, the final picture in the dev diary, or the second last one, has talking about the approval rating of the trade unions, and it's like every line has trade unions approves of this by this much. Trade unions approves of this by this much. It's like you could take out trade unions from every single line there and lose nothing.
I completely agree with that.
Did fix one of their tooltips like this and make it better? I feel like you could do that here too.
I'm fully expecting like Agamaday to have a better UI mod for Vicky 3, like he has for Imperator, and it's just going to be like an objective improvement across the board. It's going to happen.
Slice off the word trade union. You could even get rid of the thumbs.
Why hasn't Paradox hired Agamaday yet?
I don't know.
They should.
I mean,
they really should.
All the lovely UI mods, plus there's the character creator ruler designer for CK3.
I mean, his thing on the workshop is it's full. He does really good work. In this podcast, we stand Agamaday. That's just
that's long game shorts, where I think a lot of people know.
Yeah, maybe
long game shorts.
Maybe he likes the job he has now. Maybe he doesn't want to work at Paradox. I don't know.
I've heard he's applied at least once to that.
Well, then there's no excuse.
Yeah, no. It's just an absolute throw by Paradox there.
But yeah, this should just they should get rid of the thumb. They should get rid of the word trade union. It should just say approve, strongly approve, disapprove, strongly disapprove with the number.
You don't even need the words, because if you look,
and then get rid of the word approval.
Is +2, approved is +1. You don't need any of that.
It's got the little thumbs. It's got the thumbs up and thumbs down. If you just colored those green or red, so the ones going up are bright green and the ones going down are bright red.
Oh, yeah.
Get rid of
because then you've got the colorblind problems.
+1. Like
all I would say is presidential republic +1. No income tax +2.
Yep.
Per capita tax -1.
See, I'm a linguistic person, so I like having the descriptive text there of approve or disapprove.
It just
that's easier for me to read. So
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe there could be a UI option for words versus numbers.
If they had the law first in the line, I'd be more happy with it. Yeah. Because at this point, it's like, all right, I need to know how much the trade unions approve or disapprove of, I don't know, the no health system. And then you can't immediately find that. You have to...
Well,
it just takes your eyes a little bit longer to get there.
The thumbs up and thumbs down have very faint green and red backgrounds.
Yeah.
But they blend in.
Then imagine what colorblind people are going to feel with, green-red colorblindness. That's pretty common.
Yeah. That's true.
Well, that's why having the thumb is good, because you can tell that it's up or down. Just the color makes it pop for.
See, I'm a very audiovisual person anyway, so I'd much rather have like a Civilization 2 style advisor that just says to you, like, in an outline or something. Yeah.
At least we've moved past ++++ and -.
Yeah,
like CK2. Because that was garbage.
Oh, God.
Now it's like, okay, this is a tooltip. It doesn't tell me anything. But thank you for the tooltip. Yeah.
Speaking of Crusader Kings, though.
Yeah.
That's true. We did have a little...
It's the same one as like the last few weeks, really, right? It's
Yeah, it's a baby dev.
I think the last two are ethos based, and this one is traditions. Am I remembering that right? So these are,
I think so.
These are the ones you can actually kind of mix and match, I believe. But what did they show us, Rose? What traditions did they show us this week?
So, hold on, I lost the tab. There we go.
You had one
too many tabs open, because I got last week's episode up on YouTube, so I have those tabs still open, and yeah. But that was a perfect segue. +++. So we have our first one, which is charitable, which I think this is cool. The fact that the generous and the compassion traits are more common in cultures with this tradition, because people are shaped by their culture. And so if your culture is praising this sort of behavior, sort of like how certain traits are like praised with religion, this doesn't just praise it, but it makes it more common.
I like it too, because it separates it out from religion, where it's an opinion bonus for having the trait, and it makes it so you're more likely to develop the trait, which will be especially interesting in cultures where they have a tradition that makes them likely to be considered sinners in the eyes of the religion that perhaps conquered them. So that'll create some interesting conflicts. Or you can min-max it, and you can create, a culture that generates a lot of people who
are compassionate and generous, and the religion praises it, so everyone's just happy.
Exactly.
Well.
Yeah.
Then we have
min-max it so that like
parochialism.
Parochialism. Yeah.
I went to school for.
So city holdings. City holdings give you more stuff, more taxes, development levies, but they lower control, or how fast you gain control. Yeah. So they give you more, but you don't get to control them as much. They give and take, I guess.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure.
Well, what's also interesting is that city buildings and holdings, they're cheaper to construct, but republic vassals don't like you.
So this is almost like you could create a realm that is like this kind of unruly urban sprawl that is very profitable, but also very difficult to keep a handle on.
Yeah. When you say like city holdings give more taxes, development, and levies, though, like your vassal levies are minuscule anyway, right? In CK3.
Yeah, your cities don't give much.
Yeah, not a lot. Not
so
a
I'll
lot.
have to give you like a big massive boost to make it kind of worthwhile. Milway says in the chat that it's probably going to cause a lot of debate and contention on the forums, complaints.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably like who's going to have these. You know what I mean? Like if somebody's like, oh no, French is not parochial or whatever, you know, that's going to cause a lot of contention. I bet. Who gets what, basically.
Yeah,
well, the next one, we certainly know who's going to get this one, right?
Yep. You get Scandinavian elective for being ting meat.
Yeah. So
I'm going to be really pedantic here and say that the Old Norse sound had not become a t yet in this time period. So it should be thing meat, and I don't understand why they go out of their way to create Old Norse names for like every single title in Scandinavia, but then they don't use the Old Norse name for the thing. They use the modern Swedish Danish name. So maybe by the end of the CK3 time period, maybe by 1453 they were saying ting, but I think it should be thing meat, and I think they should use the thorn letter as well. That's what I think. There's
what do
my
you
little...
think it?
that's my pedantic Viking rant for this week. Yeah.
Tune in next week where we complain about something else to do with the Vikings.
You know, to do with all that though, we have tribal unity.
Yeah.
I like this one. I like this one a lot, actually.
So if you're the family patriarch, you get more prestige. You're seen as more prestigious. You get more levies. You get prestige by giving it to your house members, titles to your house members, but you lose prestige by revoking them. This, I could see this if you, I think we had another, not a tradition. We had another tradition that really worked for, you know, doing the playstyle where you start very small as a count, and as you gain land, you only give land to your family members.
Yeah.
It can get messy, but if you had a couple of these traditions, it would work really well.
With this one, we've also got a bit of a clue of who it's for, because it's Emir of an emirate. We don't know who.
Yeah, well, it says Bedouin, but yeah.
Oh, it says Bedouin. I was going to say it's going to work really well for Bedouins.
Yeah, all Bedouin characters. Opinion of liege -5. House opinion +10.
I think this is going to be a really, really fun play style, actually. I want to try this one out. Yeah.
This is a weird named one, I think. Warriors of the Dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that name's great. I love that name.
It's really zealous teetotalers. That's what
yeah.
it's
No, I think it was probably originally Warriors of the Desert, and then they decided to apply it to Drylands too, and so they changed the name. But
it doesn't sound great.
I don't know. I'd probably just keep it Warriors of the Desert.
Yeah.
Maybe like Arid Warrior.
I mean, but I guess it's because it's dry lands as well as desert in terms of
exactly. It's just a
terrain type.
Yeah, just change the name. It's a terrible name.
No, I just call it. I don't need water. Human camel. There we go. Nailed it. It's called human camel.
No, it should make her more likely to become cynical and
the human camel warriors.
It's making me become more cynical. I'll give you that.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
Warriors of Moist.
Warriors of Moist.
That needs to be the opposite. The opposite trait is Warriors of Moist.
Yeah,
I hate it.
That's for
they
Dutch.
hate each other.
For Dutch,
have a
Warriors of Moist.
Minus 100 opinion of each other. Yeah. If
and anyone who lives in Mesopotamia and also in the Nile Delta, you get Warriors of Moist.
The Bog Boys.
Yes, the Irish get it as well. Then.
Avatar, The Last Airbender vibes from this.
Yeah, there was an Avatar mod for CK2. I don't know if they are going to continue it in CK3, but
and everything changed when the Warriors of the Dry attacked.
Yeah.
We have to seek out the last moist bender.
Jay, if you bring Anbennar to CK3, you've got to add a Warriors of the Moist tradition.
The Juderi need to be the Warriors of the Dry.
Yeah, they'll just have that. We do have swamp ogres, so they're pretty bug boys.
Oh yeah, swamp ogres. There you go. There's our warriors.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
And of course, it always has to be Shrek references for the culture, because
yeah, that's
when the great
habitat.
wetness happened. It shook the dry world.
Oh my god!
That sounds like someone wet the bed.
All right. I'm watching you, chat. I've got my band rifle trained. No,
So,
Moss Mouth Warriors of the Moist.
We also had a little trailer for Total War Troy.
Yeah. They're
Well,
making.
They're fixing the game.
Yeah.
They're releasing a DLC that is what I think the game should have been from the beginning. A lot of you are Anbennar fans, which means you're probably fantasy fans.
Doubtful.
So I think you'll like this.
All right. I'll just press play on it.
Yeah,
now.
go ahead and play it.
For those who can earn it.
There we are. That works too.
Okay.
Gotta restart.
Oh, DLC is unheard of. Dude.
I don't get it.
Because he's muted the...
Make your hair
For Troy!
There we are. So that was
All right.
Troy with a little bit of a muted start.
Yeah. So they're adding a mode where there's new mythological monsters.
Jesus.
It's Greece. It's the Bronze Age.
Hold on. I forgot to turn it on. I've done the typical teacher thing where I just forgot to turn autoplay off. Like you have in a lecture. Okay, there we are. That's fine.
Are we back?
We're
Okay.
back. We're all sorted.
Yeah. So they're adding a new mythological mode, which adds some new monsters you can recruit. It also takes all of the truth behind the myth monsters and turns them into proper mythological creatures, and lets you do stuff like call down thunderbolts. If
So
I had been
turning
in charge
it from Age of Empires into Age of Mythology.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I had
Yeah.
been like the Iliad has all kinds of mythological shit going on. Like if I had been in charge of Total War Troy from the beginning, this is what I would have done. And then they're also adding another mode for people who hate fun, which is even less mythological than the original. I mean, like the idea of a Bronze Age Total War. I just don't think the Iliad is the right venue for it. Like if you wanted to do like a bigger map with like Hittites and like Assyrians and stuff, yeah, sure. But if you're telling the story of the Iliad, I want thunderbolts and cyclopes. I forget what it is.
Do that. It should focus on like for the Bronze Age. It should focus on like the Babylonians or the Egyptians.
Yeah. We definitely need Egypt in there.
I mean, you've got to have the big four: Mycenaeans, Hittites, Babylonians, and Egypt, and then everything in between.
Mm.
Pat Adams is
that'd
saying
be basically your map.
Pat Adams is saying we don't really know when the Iliad is actually set. Yeah, we do. It's in olden days. It was set in olden days. In times of yore. That's exactly when it was.
Before Alexander the Meh.
Well before.
Alexander the Conqueror is what I would call him. The Meh. The fucking Meh. What is this?
Oh, he inherited his daddy's army and built an empire that lasted less than a year after his death. So he did okay. But
I mean, he was a conqueror. He conquered a shit ton, and then he didn't hold it together because he was dead.
No, but I mean, his actions eventually led to Cleopatra, which the whole Julius Caesar ending up getting stabbed.
I'm just saying,
That wasn't
SpongeBob
anything to do with
SquarePants has
Cleopatra,
lasted longer than the argument. Like that's.
That's SpongeBob the Great. I'll have you know.
Not Alexander.
I mean, I find this very much a personal attack.
But this is good because, I think the big complaints that people had about Troy at launch was
it was shit.
Well, they were trying to please all sides with that, right? I mean, they were trying to please the historical fans. They were trying to please the people who,
right?
And I don't think they pleased either.
Pleased nobody. Yeah, exactly.
What happened was they sat on the fence for far too long, and then they got splinters in their ass, so they've jumped off the fence, and now they're going full mythological.
Yeah,
they shouldn't have jumped on the fence to begin with.
Well, they're going both ways, right? They're going full historical, which will please a lot of people.
Yeah, because everyone's going to play that. Sure.
Yeah,
historical fans are not going to play that.
I don't know. I think there's a certain number of people who like historical.
The people that argue that CK3 isn't right because women can rule it with your.
You don't need to finish that sentence. Women can is the end of that sentence.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. I think this is probably a good step in the right direction. Jay, you're a fan of Total War, right?
Oh my
or is it
just
you
Vikings?
The Vikings are here.
The Vikings are here. Oh.
Have you had a chance to play Troy Total War at all? Or?
I have. I got it for free.
Oh yeah.
That's all my relationship is with it. So.
I think that's the same with a lot of people, right? We got it on the Epic Store for free, and then that was it.
And then we never played it past this is it's a game. I guess.
I didn't even install it, which is kind of bad to be honest. But.
It's okay. It's not my favorite Total War game. The Amazons are pretty cool if you get that DLC.
I'm one of these people who have been completely spoiled by Warhammer Total War. I enjoy that so much, but
I reviewed it, so you can go read my review. But there are things I like about it. I like the barter system. There's no money. A Total War game without money is a really interesting concept. The economy
I like the idea of the different resources.
Kind of broken, but yeah.
Battles are absolutely covered, though.
I'm a cop in chat saying CK3 isn't historical because women exist. Historically, it was just men until women were invented in 1760.
That's true. And everyone was gay before 1760.
No. It was there should be no women in Total War Troy because Greece didn't have women. But then the Romans, the Greeks invented sex, and then the Romans got women involved in that process as well.
Yeah. They made it straight. They made sex straight.
That's right. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, that's what the Aeneid is about, right? Yeah.
And to let those of you that just came in on the Viking raid, we have Jay here, who is the project lead for the Anbennar mod for EU4, and we're about to talk about that.
Yeah. I think now's probably a good time to do that, really.
Yeah, let's get right into it. So we've talked a little bit about Anbennar on a previous episode, but this big update just came out. What is in the latest update, and what can people look forward to?
And so this is the Of Gods and Gears update, and honestly, this update has been a long time coming. I think the past two DLCs, I think it's Emperor and Leviathan, really hit us bad for the mod.
Yeah.
Especially
Leviathan hit a lot of people bad.
Well, it hit the world bad.
Yeah.
Hit the Steam store pretty bad.
Yeah.
The ratings got hit pretty bad. I don't know.
The game got hit bad.
Yeah.
But it was a bad time overall. Because they overhauled a lot of mechanics. They overhauled migration. And for you guys who have played it, we do a lot of cool things with migration, like adventurers wandering around.
Right.
So I think it's been 7 or 8 months since our last update, which is it's too long, I guess. Normally you'd expect maybe every 3 or 4 months. But yeah, so this is the Gods and Gears update. We've themed it loosely on gods and gears. Who'd have thought? So this is kind of two-pronged thing.
Acting title then, I guess.
Yeah. So first one is religion. So we've done a lot of things with religion. Horror Nights is a big religion that everyone has encountered. They're the equivalent of our Protestants in our equivalent of the Reformation. And before, they were just we didn't really do much for them, to be honest. For such a major religion that everyone will encounter, it just had the what's that? The reform mechanics. It just had that.
Yeah,
that was it. No special events, nothing.
Yeah.
In this one, we've kind of overhauled that, so it uses the karma system. Very popular system.
I think it works really well because you've got the Paragon system, right? Like it's basically.
Yes. So we've reflavored all of karma, and we've added some cool things on both sides. We've added more sources of how to do it, and it's essentially how well you live up to Corrin's ideals, right?
Yeah.
So we've done a crazy overhaul with that, so that should tie in well with the adventurer stuff. The biggest one out there is the Rebellion religion, which is our kind of, in vanilla we have Catholics, Protestants, and Reformed. So this is our version of the third religion. And this is Catholic, it uses Catholic mechanics.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because normally when you play vanilla, everyone's a Catholic, what's up? Pope, cool guy, bad guy, cardinals. But in this mod, we introduced a Catholic system really late into the game, 1650s. So we had to play a lot with that.
It makes the dynamic a lot more interesting, I think. I actually much prefer the Catholic mechanics gameplay-wise later on, where you feel like, because I guess with a vanilla one, you're playing the Catholic mechanics, you feel like you're playing with a pre-established church.
Yes.
That's a big monolith, but now you're trying to establish a big monolith as a brand new church, right?
So
gameplay wise, that's a lot more fun, I think.
Yeah, it's a really cool take we took. So in the vanilla, we have reform mechanics or reform desire, where you can essentially cause the Reformation to happen quicker. But we had that for this to help establish the church instead. So it's kind of like, and we tie this in with the mechanics for the Council of Trent, which is essentially buffing the church, right? Mm-hmm. And it's kind of a give or take here. Like, do you want to sacrifice a bit and help establish the church as a whole, or do you want to be a greedy little guy and get some benefits for yourself? So it's a really cool mechanic. It allowed us to go into a lot of lore, because the rebellions are this kind of scientists. They're kind of like scientific Christian kind of deal,
Yeah.
So they want to discover the secrets of the world, mixing theology and like reason, I suppose.
Interesting. And it links in really well with the new pension system with the artificers. That's right. Yeah.
Yes. So this is another thing. This is the gears part of God and Gears. So artificery has been kind of our sorry little cousin for a long time, where it just appears. You probably stopped playing already, to be honest, when it appears. But this mod has always kind of loved the idea of a Victorian era Magitech world, as I was talking about in the beginning. Anbennar began as a thing called the Black Powder Rebellion, which was this rebellion using magic, using like technology and bullets against magic, and that's like the great equalizer. And obviously artificers do the technology part where they mix both. And I was for those who haven't played it yet, the kind of theme that we had was kind of, like Indiana Jones, right? And these kind of pulpy settings where it's like an arms race of like people across the world to get secret artifacts. And you're kind of like, oh, I need to beat this guy before he unlocks this special Mayan super weapon, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the big theme for that. So we have this thing called artifice capacity, which is a new kind of resource that you gain. And you can gain it from different resources like precursor relics and Dame's Tier, which is not really found in Canor. You need to go to the new world, to Aelin's here across the world to get it, and it kind of really pushes the colonial mechanics, pushes the idea of conquering guys just to get their resources to build up these crazy inventions that we use the privilege system here like crazy.
I found it was a really good dynamic because I was playing. I love playing the goblins in this one, especially like the rail skulkers and going to form the Orc clan. And I would normally sit inside my mountain for ages, just thinking, I don't really need to expand. And then suddenly I needed to have some more Damestar. So then I started like having little tendrils coming out to try and establish little Damestar mines in different parts of the world. So that's a really interesting push to try and expand.
It gives you something to do in the late game, and sometimes when we play this game, like it's the 1700s, I've conquered everyone, like it's all good. It just gives you a little small incentive near the end of the game just for something else new to fight for. And I think that's quite interesting. You don't really see that in vanilla.
It's certainly in like multiplayer too, I think this will add a new dynamic of trying to basically have a war for resources.
I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah. So I noticed some people in chat were saying that the changes to migration have actually been great for Anbennar. Can you talk about how like some of the new features in the last couple expansions have actually been a positive thing?
Yeah. So the migration has been great. I think it plays way better than before. Because as you guys know, in EU4 they changed it, so you had this concept of tribal land, which is kind of this loose collection that you own and you can fight for it, you can settle it. In the mod, we gave all the tribal land to the orcs, so all of the subcontinent Ascan is owned by the orcs. So you can't just colonize and settle land. You need to fight for something to keep. And thematically, that's what the Green Tide is all about. It's all about adventurers fighting orcs and making a name for themselves. Yeah. And I thought that was a really cool thing to kind of put in there, because it's one of the main things for doing a total conversion mod like Anbennar is I don't want to make similar setups as vanilla. I'm not going to give you a Catholic starting religion. I'm not going to make you a Protestant spin-off religion. We're just not going to we're going to try and give you something new, because what's the point? You might as well just play vanilla, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's been really awesome. We've done loads of government reforms as well. So we're not just, using the vanilla theocratic reforms. There's some new thematic ones for the adventurers. I guess the last thing I can say about the migration stuff is I'm quite happy that Paradox enabled the old style, because the dwarves and the centaurs and stuff, that is another mystery of systems and complicated stuff. So I'm glad that they allowed you to use the old ways, because no fucking way would we figure that out.
Yeah, imagine like the centaurs go to them on the map now, like having all this being like tribal land of a mess around here would be a bit.
No, that's great. Like, I think that like the tribal land system probably works better for orcs than it does to model Native Americans, honestly. I like the idea of having like this dominion. Germanic tribes, even in Imperator, I feel like would benefit from that system a lot. Like having a buffer zone where like your people aren't living there, but people know, don't cross this line or whatever. And you can kind of move around within that area. That I like that. That concept a lot.
And it makes a lot of sense in the lore, right? Because if I understand rightly, I think this area of the world was basically destroyed pretty much by orcs and trashed.
So the orcs destroyed everything. And it's kind of, you've just won the first big battle. So they're still there, but there's still loads of them. You still need to resolve the conflict. So it works really well for us. It was a real pain to do, honestly. So I'm happy it turned out really well. There was a lot of testing and like observe games to make sure this thing was played okay.
I imagine so. Yeah, especially with how buggy the DLC launch itself was, and then you're adding a total conversion mod on top of that. I would imagine it's a lot of testing and a lot of bug hunting.
We actually did not even move to the latest version until maybe, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks before we launched this, because it was just so buggy. There's no point of even converting the mod, because you're just going to break the game for everyone else, and it's just going to be weird.
Yeah.
So that was the main holdup for us, honestly. We were just waiting for EU4 to get stable again.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
I am. I'm really looking forward to maybe trying out one of the orc tribes now. I haven't actually played orcs before, so.
I mean,
What are your like top 3 recommendations then, if you want to experience the new systems? Which 3 countries?
Yeah, I would pick any adventurer, because pick any adventurer, but try the formables like the Blade Marches, Markhold, Adenica, which have really expansive mission trees. If you're really into that, you'll get to kind of play through the new mechanics of the migration. You'll get to play a new mission tree. You'll get to witness and use the new Coronite mechanics. The rebellion stuff will occur. It might not really impact you that much, but you'll still be at the forefront. Obviously, for the artificers, Railskulker, really massive mission tree. As we all plan.
It's very good.
Amazing stuff there.
You get rocket rails. Like, if you're not sold by the idea of rocket railways, I mean.
Oh man, I love that kind of because so much of like Tolkien-inspired high fantasy is always stuck in basically like the High Middle Ages, like the romantic Angevin, like not even really the High Middle Ages, like the stories that were written about the High Middle Ages by like bards and poets and stuff. And I love thinking about, like what if you took like Tolkien dwarves and then they had an industrial revolution? What would happen? I love that kind of.
This is Warhammer.
Well, I think that's one of the good things. Great things about Anbennar, really, I think, is that it's not entirely inspired by Tolkien. It takes a little bit from everything, adds to it.
Right.
It's its own thing.
Yeah, no, it's like the goblins are probably takes quite a lot from Warcraft, I would say, right, Jay?
Yeah. Warcraft and Warhammer goblins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know what you would call it, but the that's my sister's dog being needy.
That's actually a goblin.
that was actually. I am actually trying to fend off goblins right at this very second.
Nice.
Yeah.
Phenomenal job you're doing. Like
right.
Ace.
The classic fantasy races. I like seeing them thrown into different time periods.
That was the main inspiration for Anbennar. I think for a lot of people, they just wanted to see what's it like to have elves with guns. Like, what's that all about?
I mean, what could go wrong with elves with guns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess. As for the final one, a thing that we've not mentioned in this is the vampire estate.
Yes.
So this has been around for a long time, actually, but we managed to finish it. So we have vampires, and I recommend Corvoria or Ashenyand, which are those two kind of grayish countries next to each other. They have really good, really big mission trees as well as a really cool mechanic for the vampires. You can spread vampires. You can, you have to live with the masquerade, or you can break the masquerade.
Oh, that's a mission tree and a half.
Yes, it is.
Wow,
that's like a Hoi 4 focus tree.
It's huge. It's amazing.
Okay, actually, I know exactly who I'm playing.
Corvuria. Yeah, no.
I mean,
I haven't played EU4 since February. Might be high time to change that. Yeah.
If you like Sylvania, some Manfred von Karstein vibes.
Yeah, I've already got a thumbnail lined up. Don't worry.
Well, before we wrap up here today, I'm curious, Jay, do you have?
Oh, I think we should take some questions from chat. I think before we.
Oh, do we want to?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is that all right, Jay?
Yeah, that's all good.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys got questions, we can take some questions. The one I was going to ask, because I know people have been bugging the Discord about it, but do you have any like preliminary ideas of what you would want the setup of this world to look like in the Victoria 3 time period?
So this is the mod is called Anbennar, and it's essentially our Holy Roman Empire kind of equivalent. And I would like it to really focus on Anbennar. like that should be the main player. And because obviously we have it now, but it's quite a vanilla experience. The dwarves and the adventurers give something really cool and new. I would love to really flesh out Anbennar, and Wiki Free is a really cool setting for changing your country and giving yourself cool little names and flags. And I would love to do that with Anbennar, where you can kind of change the country fundamentally. Essentially, what happens at its core is Anbennar becomes a very magicratic empire to the point where technology and artificery is kind of either banned or really discouraged because that will threaten mages, right?
Yeah.
And at the start of the Wiki Free era, that magocracy is over, and it's been taken over by some kind of radical anti-mages, I suppose, which is the Black Powder Rebellion. So we'll see an Empire of Anbennar that's kind of... The way I've described the gameplay that I'd like is... Do you know in Total War Attila, where you play as the Western Roman Empire?
Yes.
It's not really about expanding, it's about trying to keep what you have.
Yeah.
And that's why I'd like the Anbennar experiences. Like it's a really empire crumbling. Everyone's trying to gank it, and you just try to have to survive and kind of come out stronger, I guess.
Fantastic.
We do have a question that's been asked twice now in chat. How do you pronounce Gawed?
Gawed.
Yeah, I would have thought it'd be Gawed, right?
Yeah,
that's how I've been saying it.
Yeah, that's how I say it. I mean, I could be wrong, to be honest. There's no right answer.
It's like a GIF thing, is it? I guess
Jawed, yeah, Kingdom of Jawed.
Or Gaved.
I was gonna say German it'd be like Gaved, yeah.
Gawed.
And there was another question that was asked that was highlighted. I cannot scroll back in chat because the rosebud at the moment. But
Hollis when? Is that it?
Tell him mission tree when.
What mission tree?
Tell him
mission tree. When someone wants to make it.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last time you were on, right? Like how the development system in Anbennar works is.
Yeah, the development's very open. It's kind of, you can pop in to contribute. You can see what's going on.
Now chat is spammed.
Oh yeah. Well, there we go. Tell them.
Yeah, that's always likely to happen.
Yeah.
I've got a question. What's better, fireball or cannonball?
Ooh, I'm gonna say cannonball. You can't, from a basic point of view, a cannonball can destroy stuff, whereas a fire. Well, it depends what you're talking about. How big is a fireball?
Isn't it?
If it's
20 feet 20 feet in radius, something like that. I don't remember.
My
character doesn't have fireball.
Just cooler anyway.
So we were in one of the in Dresden Files RPG games I ran. I don't actually remember if this is something from the books or if we came up with this.
That was the elves?
Or if Raven came up with it. Yeah. The idea that a fireball is actually a very inefficient weapon because you're summoning a lot of energy for an effect that you could replicate with like a much smaller. Like if you just want to light something on fire, you don't need a giant ball of fire in your hand. Like it looks cool, but if your magic system has some sort of like conservation of energy rules, like there's a lot more effective ways to light something on fire than hurling a giant ball of fire at it.
We got quite a lot of questions actually here. We got of the new missions, Jay. I guess which one's your personal favorite, or was this asking like who's your favorite child? I guess
it is kind of like that. You know what? I do really like Corvuria and Ashenyan's missions because maybe I work really closely with the people who made it. But obviously they're the ones who can do it. But it was like a lot of, because you're working on the missions and the system at the same time and how to make them work together. That was really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to play that one.
This is one kind of for all of us. Somebody asked, what fantasy universe do you want to see in Wiki 3 other than Anbennar? And Jay, you can answer this too.
I want to see Girl Genius. If any of y'all read that comic.
Girls weren't invented yet. We've already gone over this. Come on.
No, that said 1760.
Yeah,
that would be invented. We would be around for Victoria 3.
Because there would be no Queen Victoria if girls hadn't been invented yet. So.
Yeah, true.
Smart.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I've been got.
I would love to see Victorian Lost. Changeling the Lost for. I'm more of a New World of Darkness / Chronicles of Darkness fan than an Old World of Darkness fan, which I know some people will see as absolute heresy. But Changeling the Lost, which is New World of Darkness, they released a supplement called Victorian Lost that's like fairy shit and like swashbuckling going on in the Victorian age, and dueling at dawn with magic pistols and stuff. I'd love to see that. I mean, just a general World of Darkness mod for Victoria 3 would be great. But yeah, Victorian Lost has a lot of information on what was going on with the Fae courts in the Victorian era. So, yeah.
I have 2, but I think maybe mine and Father Loris is going to be the same, so maybe I'll use the other one if Father Loris doesn't. So maybe you can go first.
The Warhammer?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, why? Yeah, it's the obvious. Yeah.
What about yourself, Jay?
I'll have to say, I wasn't thinking. I'll say 2, and I'm the guest, so I'll give myself some special +1.
There we go. Okay.
I'd like Eberron, because that is the time period. That is Magitech, man. That's mine is a lot of inspiration for that.
Mine is very similar to that. I want Exandria. I've gotten very heavily into Critical Role recently, and I want to see Exandria in any Paradox game, like any of them would make me very happy.
But I give me day in the chat says Powder Mage would be cool too.
Yeah,
that's a really great. I've recently read the books. Yeah, that would be cool as well.
The Edge Chronicles. Nobody ever heard of that. That was a big one in my childhood. Sky Pirates. Come on. Deep Woods.
I don't think I've read that one. Yeah,
no one seems to have. I used to love that as a kid. The Edge Chronicles.
His Dark Materials is also a good call from Agama Day.
Ooh, that would be a really good one.
I could see that. I could see that.
We've got quite a big question about the wiki, I guess. So the Anbennar wiki takes a fairly heavy load on the lore presentation. Are you happy with a wiki being more lore focus, i.e. being written in character, rather than more gameplay focus, out of character style? Are there any plans on reworking how the wiki/wiki volunteers work?
That's a really good question. That's like a legit question.
That's a proper question, isn't it?
Oh, jeez.
We're expecting these high-tier questions.
I know. I was like, tell them when. So as if you guys don't know, we have a wiki, and it's a lore wiki, and it's kind of written in a way that someone in the universe would write it as well. This is a really big thing of contention because loads of people go to the wiki for gameplay stuff. I would prefer it to be focused on the lore, but there is kind of a bit of leeway there where you can have like a separate gameplay section for the country. The issue is Anbennar is like, we're really overextending ourselves, to be honest, because Wiki free, Crusader Kings free, EU4. I mean,
keep going. There's one more you forgot.
No.
God damn it! Pops, no, bloody pops!
But yeah, I would prefer to be lore focused personally.
Will you
even Rosebud doesn't want Hearts of Iron Bernards.
But trains, right?
He wants to keep muting my microphone. We do have a very important question in chat. Pineapple on pizza, heresy or no?
Heresy. Full heresy.
I think I've been asked this one.
What? You get to... There you go.
There's one... Oh, go on, sorry.
Well, wait, no, because I've been asked this on Twitter multiple times. I think pineapple on pizza is fine. I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's amazing. I'm not going to order it for myself, but if there's pizza sitting there with pineapple on it and someone's like, you want a piece? I'll be like, yeah. So I'm moderate on pineapple pizza.
Yeah, same.
I wouldn't. I mean, I might pick off the pineapple and then be like, oh, I can still taste it. You know what now?
You'll eat it. You'll still eat it though, right?
I mean, it depends. One, am I drunk? 2, how hungry am I? Honestly, worse than pineapple on pizza is onion though, because onions are fucking sneaky, right?
No,
an onion on a pizza. No.
Awesome.
I've got a rant coming, and it's gonna happen. An onion on a pizza can hide under the bloody cheese.
That's true.
It's fucking disgusting.
Like a
Ruins it.
gorilla topping.
No, here's
Onions
no.
are the worst. Is it a vegetable? I don't fucking know. It's the worst. It ruins so many meals. Fuck onions. Garlic's cool, but onions can eat shit.
Corbin Flagger, that is the real heresy. Banana on pizza, that is heresy.
I mean, we can agree on that, of course.
Exterminatus, bombardment from orbit to no banana on pizza.
I've never tried it. It might be nice. Who knows? I ain't the pizza police.
I ain't
right?
gonna try it.
Who cares?
Think of the texture. I don't even care about the flavor, but think of the banana texture.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't mind banana flavor, but the texture of bananas is gross. Like, unless you fry them, like, I get why in some other countries...
Americans, man, Jesus Christ.
In some other countries, they think it's weird that we eat bananas raw, and I agree. Like, it's gooey and gross. Like, you gotta cook those.
If you have a dessert pizza, you get fry some bananas, then it's okay. I'm not gonna have bananas on like a tomato pizza. The ketchup
like
pizza,
jam. Or like on like a brioche base or something.
The only fruit that should be on a fucking pizza is tomato. End of story. Job done.
Sankrinos is asking what culture in Anbennar's setting would invent pizza, and this will be considered canon from now on.
Ooh, that's really tough. I've never thought about it. I've never ever thought about this.
Yeah.
Well, first time for everything. It's going to have to be someone who can grow tomatoes.
Yeah, well, it was flatbread. Yeah, they had flatbreads for a long time, and then we imported tomatoes from the New World. So that would.
So wait, the elves come from the New World, so clearly they would have brought the tomatoes with them.
Right?
But I don't know. Tomatoes could be native to the Old World in Anbennar. I don't know what the horticulture. I don't know what the soil conditions are like.
You know what? I like Chat's suggestion here. BPEC, the gnomes.
Pizzas.
Or is it gnomes or halflings?
They're halflings.
Halflings, yeah.
Halflings, they cook. They will invent literally every food.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
All food was invented by halflings.
All food was.
Pizza with honey. I could
all
go
meals.
A dessert pizza with. Actually, there was a place I used to go to in Denver that has like dessert pizza with like cinnamon sugar on the crust, and you could dip it in honey, and it was really good. So, yeah.
It ceases to be a pizza at that point.
Well, it's a dessert pizza.
I mean, I've had something that on the box said it was pizza, but the base wasn't bread. It was
pizza
like
talk. It is lovely, but I might have to bow out.
All right, well,
we've got a few more questions to rush through a sec. One more, a few more. I'm gonna fold a few of these questions in.
Yep, go for it.
So, when a great project's coming back to the Dwarven Holds, and I guess related to that, are there any plans for monuments to be used more in Anbennar?
We have some monuments already. So the Castanorian citadels like Bal Hill and Bal Vertesc are monuments. There are plans. It's just as they come in.
I just realised I folded in two questions that I was going to ask into one. The Dwarven Hold projects, I guess.
Oh, this is a really tough one because a lot of our stuff is tied into existing mechanics or mission trees. So I'd say for a lot of the more complicated ones, we would just leave it. Because obviously you have DLC considerations as well. You don't really want to, have people miss out on stuff that's inside your mission tree.
all right.
That makes sense. Cool. And Snowlet TV asks, I believe Snowlet TV is the developer for Lambert. You can finish this for me.
Bronze Age and the head of Imperator Invictus. And also he's wrong as well.
Ask a question about the UI. And this will be the last one, I guess, for the evening.
Yes.
Will you, in the future, make mission UIs wider so the mission trees look less of a block and they could be a bit more dynamic?
I would say no. This one, we're kind of too far gone, to be honest. It is kind of one of the principles that we kind of still hold to is we try and keep things vanilla as possible in terms of UI mods and stuff like that, because it allows you to get what you want. If you want to get a wider one, or if you want to get a flag mod, go for it. If you want to get a graphical enhancement, go for it. But for missions, no. And all our missions are built for this 5-column one, so probably won't happen.
I know, for example, I know for Railscuttler, you got hidden missions that pop up depending on a choice, I guess, which is kind of solves a lot of those issues.
That's how we sort out really big mission trees.
All right. Well, if people have other questions or they just want to learn more about the mod, where can they go and where can they find you?
Cool. So you can go to our Discord. I'm sure there's a link floating somewhere. We have a subreddit, r/Anbennar. So I'm not going to spell Anbennar, actually. It's on the title.
It's in the chat right now, and if you're listening to this later, it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah, so Discord, subreddit is the main ways. And obviously we have a Twitter, at Anbennar, and me, Jhant, if you want to feed my ego a bit and follow me.
Nice.
Please do that. But yeah, Discord, subreddit is the main way if you have questions.
Good place to get updates. Subscribe to follow Twitter. That's right.
For sure. Rose, just so you can deal with whatever you need to deal with, what have you been up to, and where can people find you?
I've been streaming on Twitch, Stardew Valley and The Sims Cottage Living, which is basically Stardew Valley meets The Sims.
Fantastic.
I'll be streaming some more of that tonight at about 7:30 Eastern time, so I guess about 3 hours after this little guy goes to bed.
At least he seems happier now. Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's see if I can change the camera down. On my chair. Yeah.
All right. All right.
Like, no, it's not bedtime. Why are you saying bed? You went down?
All right, Lambert. What about yourself? Lambert, what have you been up to? Where can people find
I
you?
have been playing a bit of Imperator, and I've been playing a bit of Victoria 2. Imperator got the multiplayer that's still going, that's a lot of fun, and I'm about to go murder the Persians tomorrow. And in Vicky 2, I've been doing a game as Italy, which is a lot of fun, just trying to learn the game. So I know more about how Vicky works, so I can compare it to Vicky 3 when it comes out. And I've been enjoying that quite a bit. Also dying in heat. That's
yeah.
I think that's most of the world right now.
Common
Northern Hemisphere.
Right. Any comic or home improvement news this week, Loris?
Lots of home improvement news. I've done a little bit. I've done some sketches for an Anbennar comic, actually, because I've been playing
sweet.
Far too much Anbennar. Pretty much all I've been playing is Anbennar, so
nice.
That's the only ideas I've got is Anbennar ideas. So
fantastic.
Amazing.
All right.
So hopefully I can get that out this week.
To that one.
Hopefully at the end of a week. Fingers crossed.
Because I found a thumbnail for my next Anbennar series.
Lambert's constantly stealing my art. I'll see you in court, sir.
Well, Jay, thank you for coming on. We'd love to have you on again sometime.
Come and plug to yourself, Liana.
Development of the mods. I haven't really done. I'm technically on vacation this week. I kind of made an exception for the podcast. So, but
go follow her anyway.
I'm Till Folkvong on Twitter. My Twitter's pretty good. Some people have said. Yeah, and I'm gonna be reviewing Humankind as the next thing on my docket. So keep an eye out for that review in the coming weeks. Or just
go back and read or rewatch all of the podcasts where we've talked about Humankind, which is quite a few. Also, read the article as well.
Follow and subscribe to the podcast. Leave us some stars. Leave us some reviews. Leave us likes. Whatever buttons they have, just press them. Not report, but press all the other ones. On whatever.
Press on follow and report.
On YouTube, the dislike button does just as much as the like button. It's all
That's
engagement.
True.
Does it? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Completely irrelevant. Click it if you like. Don't click it if you don't want to.
The worst thing you can do is have no opinion. Whether you like us or hate us, just click one of the thumbs.
The only button we don't want you to click is off the video.
All right, and we will be back next week with another episode. Thanks for tuning in.
Toodles.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.